Welcome to this 4-part series that takes you deep into the real world of property investing. Not the basic stuff, not the usual buy a house, get a mortgage, rent it out kind of advice. In this series, I'm going to show you the advanced, no-nonsense strategies that real portfolio builders use to create real wealth through property, even if you're starting from ground zero. And here's the question behind this entire series. Why do some investors become wealthy, enjoy freedom, and live a life of choices and even luxury, while others struggle for years, feel overwhelmed, and stay stuck in the 9-to-5? My name is Vincent Wong. I've been investing in property for over 25 years, and I've helped thousands of people do property deals. And I truly believe that with the right strategies and the right skill sets, anyone can succeed in property regardless of the financial circumstances. Let's begin. Welcome to part 1. In this first episode, I'm going to talk about something absolutely fundamental: the importance of finding the right deals if you're serious about property investing. Before we dive in, this masterclass has 2 very clear objectives. First, how you can replace your salary as soon as possible, ideally within the next 12 months. Second, how you can build long-term wealth through assets far quicker than the traditional conventional approach to property investing. Now, if you're new to property and you're confused by the dozens of different strategies out there, strategies people pay thousands of pounds to learn, this part will finally clarify everything so you can make informed decisions. And to achieve both objectives, it's crucial to go back to the beginning and examine how most people typically approach property investing and why that approach produces the outcomes it does. Because if you can't identify a real deal, nothing else matters. So let's start with the basics. What actually makes a deal a deal? In the UK right now, there are an estimated 8.7 million renter households. That's nearly 9 million people renting. And we all dream of owning our own home. We grow up believing that our home is our biggest investment. We assume that when the property goes up in value over the years, we can upgrade, move to a nicer neighborhood, maybe buy a bigger house. And in the meantime, we want to pay down our mortgage as quickly as possible, so that eventually one day, maybe in 20 years' time, we can live a mortgage-free life in retirement. Now, that's true to a degree for people who are not looking to use property to replace their income. But for everyone else, this approach doesn't get you financial freedom. It only gives you a home. And here's the reality nobody talks about. If anything, you must have a job to earn an income to pay that mortgage every month. Because if you don't, the bank will repossess your property. So let's be honest for a moment. Do you really own the house? Or is it the bank or the mortgage that owns you for the next 25 years? I'll let you decide. Nonetheless, home ownership is so appealing because instead of paying your landlord's mortgage, you feel good about paying your own. It gives you security, it gives you pride, it gives you a place you can call home. But financially, let's be clear, you won't gain financial freedom until you sell up and retire many years later. So let's fast forward to a major event in property. Buy-to-let mortgages, which came out in 1996. Suddenly, people could buy investment properties as long as they can put down a deposit, rented a property and generated an income. You only needed to pay the interest every month and you collected rent. And just like that, congratulations, you are a landlord. The idea was simple. The difference between the rent that you receive and the interest that you pay is your profit. And this became massively attractive to UK investors because not only you get the rental income, but you also own an asset that rises in value over time. So the question is, does buy-to-let make you wealthy? Does it make you financially free? Well, it makes you wealthier in the long run if you buy in the right location. We all know the saying, location, location, location. And yes, to some extent it's true. But here's the fallacy. No matter how good the location, it will take years before you see any meaningful gains. It is a long-term strategy, sometimes a very long-term strategy. So when it comes to financial freedom, how does buy-to-let stack up? Let's do some basic maths. First, you need your number. What is the minimum income you need every single month to replace your salary? For some people, it might be £3,000, for others, £5,000 or even £10,000. What's your number? Hold that figure in your head. Now, let's say you find a 2-bed property for £200,000 in a city far from the capital. The deposit required today is 25%. That's £50,000. And right away, that becomes a major barrier to entry. Now, let's say you have it. The bank lends you £150,000. At 5% interest, your monthly payment is £625. If you rent the property for £1,000 a month, your gross profit is £375. Now, depending on how you buy the property, your taxes are different. If you buy in your own name, the government taxes you on the full £1,000 rent. If you buy through a limited company, you're taxed on the £375 profit. That's why, if you're serious as an investor, you must set up a limited company. Otherwise, a high-rate taxpayer loses up to 40%. But regardless of the tax situation, your profit on a £50,000 cash investment is no more than £300 a month. And that's before voids, maintenance, repairs, and all the surprises that come with tenants. A broken boiler alone can wipe out months of profits. Now, let's go back to that financial freedom number. How many properties do you need to hit that figure? And equally important, how many £50,000 deposits do you have? You've locked away your savings to make £200 to £300 a month in the pursuit of financial freedom. The maths simply doesn't add up. This is why most buy-to-let investors wait years for the property to increase in value so they can refinance and raise another deposit. And that's exactly why most buy-to-let landlords only own 2 to 3 properties in their entire lifetime. Now, let's talk about HMOs, homes of multiple occupancy. Yes, HMOs can maximize your income. You can rent out individual rooms and dramatically increase your returns. But there are caveats, especially for new investors. First, regulations. You need a license. Your local authority can impose Article 4, which removes your permitted development rights and forces you to apply for planning permission. And councils today are becoming more strict because of oversupply in certain areas. You may have missed the window entirely. Then, time. You're dealing with multiple tenants, more tenant issues, more management, more risk. Void periods and problematic tenants are not uncommon, so it's not for the faint-hearted. And lastly, costs and finance. HMOs fall outside standard buy-to-let lending. You need specialist commercial lending. If it's your first HMO, many lenders either won't lend to you or restrict how much you can borrow. Then you have the renovation costs to convert the property. Development costs are high to maximize your rentable space and comply with regulations. So the question becomes, after all the capital and effort and stress, does the net income actually get you closer to that financial freedom number? Or do you need multiple HMOs to hit your goals? And has your capital been drained in the process? This is why many HMO landlords today are selling up. Rising costs, rising interest rates, more regulations, more labor, less reward. Now, let's look at property development. This is probably the most popular strategy for people who want to grow their portfolio faster. You find a rundown property, refurbish it, increase its value, refinance, pull out your capital and move on to your next project. BRR, buy, refurbish, refinance. Many people have done this successfully, But here are a few points to consider. Development opportunities are becoming increasingly competitive. You're competing against experienced developers with deeper pockets and stronger relationships. Most rundown properties require cash because banks don't lend on unmortgageable properties. Then you have development costs and high interest of short-term finance such as bridging loans. I recently met a lady who had to take a second job with her daughter just to pay the bridging interest every month while the project was still unfinished and worth less than the outstanding loan. Lastly, you have to ask yourself whether you genuinely have the appetite for the risk, the cost, and the time commitment that development requires. Renovation can accelerate your portfolio growth, but it is not the quickest way. Before I discuss the alternative methods, my methods, I want to briefly touch on rent-to-rent and service accommodation. These appeal to people who want to get into property with little or no capital, but they are not investments, they are businesses. The income is far from passive. You're dealing with multiple tenants again, guests, cleaners, repairs, and constant management, and all the bills. And importantly, you don't benefit from any capital gains when the property goes up in value. Like all businesses, they require capital and experience. And I've seen many people take on more stress or lose more money than they ever expected. If your goal is passive income and lasting wealth, these are best avoided. So here's the crucial part. What makes a deal after all? The answer is simple. You want a property that comes with instant equity. A property that is worth more than what you pay for it on the day you buy it, without needing much or any renovation. These are genuine below market value deals, or BMV deals. They unlock the secret of how serious investors build their portfolios and replace their salaries quickly. With BMV deals, you can achieve this within 12 months or less.
I've done a purchase lease option. I've done 2 other deals. One is about 32% below market value. The other one is going to be a no money left in deal, so it's about 42% below market value. And then I've got another deal that I'm sort of working on right now as well.
And now this leads to the real question. Why are BMV deals essential for building a real property business, and where do you find them? That's exactly what part 2 is about. Look out for part 2, where to find genuine below market value deals.